By popular demand, I'm finally working on my video for how to set up and play a game of Arena of the Planeswalkers on the Roll20 website, as you've probably seen in my streams and in the Discord. Part 1, we're going to have to go through and initially set this up. What you see here, I have my web browser already open. This is on Google Chrome. You should be able to use most web browsers. You're going to want to search up or just type directly into your search bar up here, your address bar, https://roll20.net. Look it up. It's a relatively popular, mostly D&D-ish website. So once you're on the site here, you're going to want to go near the top right where it says sign in. If you don't have a Roll20 account, please click on the new around here sign up button. It will walk you through how to make an account. It'll ask you for like your email, your name. It'll have you confirm your account. Once you have your account created, you can go in here and type in your account. So I'm going to go with one of my emails here. Whoops. Then you'll type in your password. We're going to sign in. Alright, so normally you wouldn't see these three icons here. Yours is probably going to be blank, at least if it's your first time signing in. Once you get signed in, you'll have to contact me on the Discord. I'm going to leave a link to the AotP Discord below. Please contact me. My username is unhingedmanchild. You can't miss me. Message me that you're trying to play a game on Roll20 and you need an invite link to one of the rooms. You will have to click on that link and then find the launch game button. It's usually a bit towards the bottom, as like you might see here. It might be a little lower. Again, it depends on how many games you have. I think the image here ends up being a little bit larger if you only have, let's say, access to one room. But once you click the link and you accept the invite, you should be able to look around and find launch game. You're going to click launch game. You'll get a loading screen. This is fine. It takes, I don't know, 10 seconds maybe, give or take. You might get pop-ups that say, it'll walk you through a tutorial. So I'm going to close this. I'm going to close this tryout integrated voice and audio. Just to let you guys know, I typically just use Discord for voice chat. Feel free to close those tutorial windows. And you should see something, when you finally load into the game, you should see something that looks like this. You'll probably see some names, some of the cards like you see on the top of the screen. These are some of the spell cards from AotP. We have a map on the bottom. This is actually a HeroScape community map, if I remember it right. And then we have some dead tokens and such for these. These are the figures. These images represent the figures. So generally, your game, when you first sign in, you're probably going to see something like this. Not exactly like it, but you get the idea. There's a map. You might see some of the cars laying about. You'll see pictures of the figures. Number 1, although you don't see it on my screen, what you probably will see when you sign in for the first time is something that looks like this purple right here. If you have this, I would highly suggest removing it, only because it's kind of annoying. Like you can see I'm moving this around by clicking this arrow. It's kind of annoying if you have multiple people in your game and then you have these things covering up like part of the board. So I would highly suggest, in case you didn't see what I just did, if you go to the left side up here by this cog, it says my settings. Like there's a bunch of stuff over here. Whoops. There's a bunch of stuff over here. You can see chat, yada yada. You want to click this cog. This is my settings. You'll go down to audio and video, click the drop down arrow. You'll want to click this, which says video display. And you want to find the setting that says player video avatar size. That is what this little design is above my name. I would highly suggest removing it or setting it to small like that. I personally prefer names only though, and that is what I'm going to do for this video. Now, we're going to go over some basic controls. You can zoom in and out of the main table area, at least on this kind of left center here where I'm pointing, by scrolling your mouse wheel. This is a default, and I think you can change this, but for now I don't. But you can scroll, or I'm sorry, you can scroll your mouse wheel to zoom in or out, so you can read like certain text. Like you can see now that you can read some of the text on some of these cards by zooming in. and then I can scroll my mouse wheel down to zoom back out and get a bigger idea of everything on the table. You can also pan around the table, in case you haven't noticed that that's what I've been doing, by holding right click. If you click and hold it down and move your mouse around, you can pan around the table and look around. So if you do zoom in really far and you want to look at, oh, here's Chandra's Fury, the enchantment, and then if I want to scroll over here and look what else is over here, Stubborn Resilience. Again, I'm using right click. You click and hold, and then you have Fire Breathing way over here. And this just lets you pan around the map. If you accidentally stretch something out of proportion, like when you're trying to click, like usually you can click and move a figure by clicking it like that, but you'll see there's little squares on the sides of them. Here, let's see if I can find a spell. So you can see that, like, at the corners and sides, there's little squares. You can stretch them out, maybe by accident. Like, let's say I go like this and I accidentally, it looks very distorted now. If you do this by accident, I would suggest just holding down the control key, and while holding control down, press Z. See, and then it's basically a shortcut for undo. Hold the control key and press Z, Z for zebra, while holding control. So there it is. Control Z undoes it. If you do an accidental boo-boo and stretch a figure out, like I can stretch this guy out all the same, and it's like, oh, didn't mean to do that. Control Z puts it back where it was. All done with basic controls. We're going to learn about the two primary layers of Roll20 that we will be working in, mostly for setting up and for playing the game. So towards the top left, up here, you're gonna see you have this, like, it's a toolbar effectively with all these different things. Primarily, we are going to be working with these top two. This arrow is mostly for select and move. Oh, it looks like it also lets you pan. All right. But I usually just use select, move, and then to jump between layers of the map. Because as you noticed earlier, I was only moving the cards and the figures. I don't have that option with the map, and that's because we intentionally use the map and background layer for that. So, for the sake of learning, we're going to go into the map and background layer right now. You just click this cube, and then you click the map and background layer, and then you can scroll back over here. And now, as you can probably see, everything else is kind of lightly grayed out or faded out. This is because those objects are on the what is it called? The objects and tokens layer. There we go. Usually I put the map on the map and background layer, so that way people aren't accidentally clicking and dragging the map around. So what we have here is the map, and now you can see I can twist and turn the map and do whatever I want. I can distort it, yada yada. See, same thing as before. Control Z if you accidentally mess up the map, distort it. So while you are in the map and background layer, you can't touch anything else, any of the other tokens and yada yada, if those tokens were placed in the objects and tokens layer, which oftentimes they should be. You should probably get into the habit of, if you're going to place spells and figures on the field, please use the objects and tokens layer, since those are more often interacted with, and usually the map isn't something you drag around and move around a lot. So while we are still in the map and background layer, you can left click on the map to select it. If you want to move the map around, let's say if you want it in a different location on the table, again, once I've left clicked to select it, you can just left click, hold, and drag and move it somewhere else. Typically I just leave it kind of near the middle of the table, sometimes slightly towards the bottom. It's usually to give space to put spells attached to the figures at the top, put the graveyards at the bottom. Let's learn how to place a new map on the table. If you go towards the upper right side, you should see this third one from the left. It says Journal. You will left click on Journal, and it won't quite look like this. Your screen is going to look probably like this when you first click Journal. The easy way is to just find maps here and expand it by clicking the plus. Again, yours won't all be expanded automatically. This is just because I've been playing with these things on my time. But you can expand maps and then expand, exactly which map you want. Do you want an AotP scenario? Do you want a HeroScape community map? For the moment, we will practice putting an AotP scenario on the map. So let's put the melee onto the map. First, we have to delete our old map off of the screen. So left click on the old map and just press backspace or delete. Either one will remove it. You can, again, if you delete it by accident, you can Control Z, but intentionally click the map and delete it. Now, hover over where it says the melee, but make sure you hover over the text and not the actual image. This won't work if you click on the image of the map. You want to see how the melee text turns blue. Hover over the melee text. You have to left click, hold, and drag, and drop it somewhere in the middle. Boom, and it generates our map. Same thing as before, you can move the map around, resize it. Just to let you know, I have set up these maps and the tokens so that they're all generally one size fits all, so that you don't have to resize these. Like, once you click and drag these onto the table, you shouldn't have to resize them unless you're doing something really funny. In general, this is all, it's kind of a pick up and play thing. Once you place all the tokens in the map, there's no need to resize. They're all a standard size so that it generally works. Now that the map is on the field, let's go into the objects and tokens layer again so that we can work on setting up figures. Go ahead and try interacting with any of the figures that are currently on the table. Like, I have this fire cat who actually has a damage marker on it. We'll go over that later. But see if you can click and drag. You can literally just left click and hold immediately on it and you'll move. And it'll grab the icon for you and move it around. This is basically how we do movement in AotP Online. You should be able to maneuver just about any of the figures that are currently on the map. You can also mass select figures in an area. Like, let's say I put all my scions, something like this. You can left click and hold and draw a box, as you can see what I'm doing here. You can draw a big box and it'll select all figures in an area. Like, as you can see here, it's going to select the fire cat. We got Chandra here, and then all 3 scions. So I've let go of them. You drag and drop. I let go of the left click at this point right here. And now if I want to move them, I can click on one of the, I guess it's anywhere within the box. Yeah, it is. Anywhere within the box. And as long as I left click and hold again, it moves all of them. As you can see here, it'll move all of them to a different spot. Like I say, I'll just drop them all right here. That's basically how you can mass move and even mass delete figures. Let's say I wanted to delete just Chandra and the fire cat. Draw a box over them. There it is. Press delete, and they're gone. Let's review putting a new figure on the table. Figures are represented by tokens, so you will be going under the same journal icon on that top right up there, and you may already still be underneath it from putting our map on the table. This time, we are going to want to shrink down maps. We're going to expand figures by clicking the plus next to it. And again, you should see everything is probably not going to be expanded out for you to start. But generally, like, if you're looking for, I don't know, should we go get Chandra again? Let's go get Chandra again, why not? So I'll click the plus by red, and I will go find Chandra. This is the same deal as it is for maps. When you want to put a figure or a token representing a figure, really, on the table, you click the name of the figure you want to put on the table, and you click and drag, and then let go. And you can do it multiple times. I could put 30 Chandras on here if I wanted to. So there, now we have 3 Chandras, for if you want 3 Chandra Planeswalkers for some reason. So you can keep doing this to build whichever army you want. You'll see some of these squads are named differently. Like, we have Firecat 1, 2, and 3. Each one is to represent each of the different sculpts of the figures in the squad, and so that you can easily track which one is which. Let's say I have my Scion attack the Firecat here. We can track that Firecat 3 has damage on it, and Firecats 1 and 2 aren't damaged. It's an easy way for each player to know. Since we can't place physical red cubes on it, we are using one of the features of Rule 20 here to basically place damage cubes on the images of the Firecats to track damage. I'll just put the Flamewing Phoenixes on here as well for fun. And there, now we have a whole red army. A whole 500 point red army. I'm going to delete the extra Chandras. Nice and easy. Now we have an army. We'll put the Scions up here. We'll put... let's put Phoenixes up here too. We have to learn about how dice rolling works on this interface. We have some automated dice rolling set up here. You're going to go to the collection button in the upper right. It should be this one with like the 3 square dots and then the 3 rectangles next to them. You're going to see these macros at the very top. You may see more more than this, but generally you're looking for attack, defense, and D20. You're going to add these to your bar. So click on attack, click on defense, click on D20. And if you look at the bottom right now, I have, ooh, that's kind of messy. Why is that so messy? Do I need to refresh this? What happened? There we go. Yeah, that bugged out. That bugged out for a second. Yeah, that bugged out for a moment. I actually had to reload the page to be able to move my nameplate again. My nameplate was in the way. I'm sorry. So you want to click attack, defense, and D20. And as you'll see at the bottom left, we have macro buttons. So when you click one of these, or at least when you click on attack or defense, you'll get a window that asks for your input for the number of dice you want to roll. And then the D20, when you click it, you may have just heard that, it just automatically rolls one D20 for you, because there's never a reason to roll more than one D20 at a time for a player in AOTP. So let's try using attack. Let's say that I'm going to use my Phoenix to attack a Scion right here. There. Flamewing Phoenixes have a base attack of 2 dice. Not very good, but when this asks you, right, how many attack dice are we rolling? Type in 2. There's no high ground, it's just the Phoenix rolling 2 dice. You'll click submit, and again you'll see, as long as you're in the chat tab on this top right here, it'll say rolling 2 to attack, and then you'll see the results of your attack roll, and we have a 0 blank and a 0 shield. That's because a blank and a shield are both worth 0 hits. So we got 0 total, and it does the math for you. For fun, I'm going to re-roll that. Let's see if I actually get a hit. There we go. So you'll see in red, so it says rolling 2 to attack, and it says 1 cross weapon symbol plus 0 blank. So you have 1 hit total. It does the math for you. It rolls a virtual die which has 3 cross weapon symbols, 2 shields, and 1 blank side. Just like official AOTP dice, it's rolling a 6-sided virtual die. So it tallies up your total hits, and let's say for fun I want to roll 50 attack dice. There you go. See, I rolled 27 hits, and you can do the math if you want to go through all of your goodies. Please note that for something like the Blazing Firecats here, the interface has no idea whether you're attacking with a Blazing Firecat or if you're attacking with a creature that is buffed by something like Red's Sorcery Twin Flame. So you have to do the math for yourself. If you're like, let's say I have this Fire Breathing enchantment, like we can put Fire Breathing underneath the Firecats. Firecats have a base power of 3, and let's say Fire Breathing gives it an additional +2 power, right? So if we want to roll our 5 dice, we'll be rolling 5 dice against the Scion, right? So if we go to attack and roll 5, so we rolled 4 hits out of 5 dice. It says 4 here. However, if you're familiar with AOTP, and especially the Blazing Firecats, they have an ability called Intense Strike, which says that when you roll at least 2 cross weapon symbols when they're attacking, then you get 1 additional hit for that attack. That is not accounted for here. The interface has no idea that you're using a Firecat to do an attack here, so you need to do that math for yourself. Or again, for something like Twin Flame. If you would play Twin Flame and then attacked with this Firecat, you would have to do the math to double this up yourself. Anyway, on to rolling defense. Since we haven't rolled defense for this poor Eldrazi number 1 yet, we will roll defense. Again, you can usually wait once attack dice are rolled, then you can say, okay, you know, the Eldrazi Scion has 3 toughness. We're not going to pretend like he has anything. He's just standard 3 toughness. So you'll click defense, type in 3, click submit, and it's the same thing, but it's looking for shields this time while rolling defense. So you'll see rolling 3. So this is looking for shields only. You can see that it has a 0 next to cross weapon symbol here. This is because when you're rolling defense, a cross weapon symbol is meaningless to you. So you see that I rolled 2 shields and 1 cross weapon symbol on my 3 dice, so therefore I have 2 shields total, 2 blocks total. So let's review tracking damage on our figures. Let's say this Scion attacks Chandra. Let's say the Scion has a lot of buffs and he's really looking to hurt Chandra. There's 2 hits and Chandra rolls 4 defense. No, she totally blanks out. So we have 2 damage that goes onto Chandra because she's the defending figure. There is 2 unblocked damage. How do we add damage to the figure? So the best way, in my opinion, and this is how we generally do it on AOTP Online, you can left click the figure 1 time. You should be able to see this on every figure. You get all these icons that pop up. you can click this bottommost icon right here. It looks like a kind of a round gem. And we typically use this red icon. It's literally just called red if you see me hovering over it. If you just click it once, it'll put 1 damage onto the figure that you've currently selected. So if I go to this Phoenix, there's 1 damage onto the Phoenix. If you want to add, and damage can be removed in the same way as you just saw. If you click it, click the red circle, the damage goes away. However, in this case, we need to add 2 damage onto Chandra. So, when we click this gem, instead of clicking the red dot like that, hover your cursor over the red dot and press the 2 key on your keyboard. It will automatically append the red dot and put a 2 on top of it. So this is how you know Chandra has 2 damage on her. If Chandra gets healed for damage, you can just click this red icon and then all of the damage will go away. But you can update the damage value at any time you want. Like you can press 4, 8. See, I'm just pressing the key. I'm not clicking. I'm just hovering over it and pressing whichever number that I want. So 2, 4, 8. That's all you need to do. As an alternative, what you may see up here, you may have noticed earlier, is some of us like to use, this is kind of similar to the Heroescapers Google Docs format. You'll see that, at least for the heroes, because heroes and planeswalkers, I should say, because heroes and planeswalkers are represented by a single token and not multiple tokens like a squad of phoenixes would be. Like a squad of phoenixes, you'd have to track each one up here, which I don't generally prefer to do myself. But at least for the heroes and the planeswalkers, it's kind of nice to know how much life they have left, so that you can you can type in up here instead to say, oh, Chandra has 5 damage, and you can leave this off down here, so that every time a Scion attacks Chandra or anyone attacks Chandra and she takes damage, you can just go up to here and double click in the box and then delete and put however many damage she has after any given attack. And then you can also know that you can know ahead of time by typing in the number to say 5 out of 6 damage, because she can take 5 damage or because she can take 6 damage total before she's destroyed. Now we need to review setting up our spell decks. So setting up a spell deck is mildly complicated, so please pay attention to this if you are going to use this interface. But we're going to make an example white spell deck. You can use this process to make any monocolored spell deck. Click on the collection button at the top right. That's this button right up here. You'll have to scroll down a little bit and you'll see this is decks right here. You'll find all of the color spells within a specific deck. You'll see I have a deck that contains all white spells, a deck that contains all blue spells, all red spells, etc. Further down, you'll find some of the decks that other players have probably created and have used in their past games, and those have remained in the decks section. If you would like to use one of those, feel free. You can click any one of these and look at the deck list by just clicking the name, as I did there, and you can scroll down a little bit here and you'll see all the cards that are in it. But we're going to make a brand new deck in case these aren't available or you want to make your own deck. To make a mono white deck, we're going to go up to the all white spells. We're going to click it. You get this pop-up window. Scroll all the way down to the bottom. You'll find duplicate deck. Click that. And then you can click close or cancel. Doesn't really matter. I'll click cancel. You should be able to scroll to the very bottom of the deck list. Again, we're going to go just above the rollable tables. You'll see all white spells. It's duplicated itself down here. Go ahead and rename this duplicate deck whatever you want. I'm just going to call it YouTube Test White. And then click Save Changes. Now click on your new deck name once again. So I'm going to go down to my YouTube Test White. Click it. In order to change the deck to contain whichever cards you want it to have, you'll have to scroll down a little bit. For each card that you want to remove, you'll just have to click on the name of the card on the right side. Like, let's say I want to remove Fell the Mighty from my deck because it's really expensive. Did I say right click? I'm sorry. You'll left click on the name of the card that you want to remove. So I left clicked and the card popped up here. It's basically a zoom in of it. It gives you a little extra. You can read the text of it right here. This is the image. But you'll scroll down where it says delete card. You'll click delete. Confirm that you want to delete it. All that does is remove that card. It'll remove Fel the Mighty from your specific deck. It will not remove the card from the other decks. The rules say that your decks should be 12 cards and 200 points or less. I'm not going to do the math for my cards right now, but generally you're going to plan out which 12 cards you want ahead of time. Slight interjection, I'm going to take a moment to shout out my AOTP builder. You may use this free tool to help you plan out your AOTP build before you attempt to set it up in Roll20. This tool features many tabs at the bottom, as you'll see down here. We have like things like mono white, mono blue, mono black, etc. All the official AOTP combinations, and even if you hit these little arrows, you'll see I have things like white, black, red, green. It's all here. On each of these tabs, you will be presented with the array of creatures and spells that are available to your color combination. The stats for the creatures as well as the stats and effects of the spells are all here. You can hover over the names to see their abilities and their effects. A bit towards the right, you can click on the drop downs to change your selection. Let's say I wanted to change my creatures and have the Inquisitors, Court Aeronaut Captain, and Hookers. You can change these and see live what your new army point cost total is, and you can do the same if you scroll down a little bit with the spells. There are 12 spell slots here. It will always update your point cost. See, and as you can see, I'm over 200, so this highlights red. It will also prevent you from putting 2 of the same card in the army. Same thing goes for the creatures as well. I should go over that real quick. Look, if I try to put the Court Aeronaut Captain in here twice, it will flag it for you. So this is a very useful tool. The link is in the description below. Please check it out. This is extremely helpful. And then find them in here, leave them in here, and delete the other ones that you don't want. So I'm just going to go through, I'm just going to delete a few. Again, I haven't planned this out to see if this is going to be 200 points or not, or under 200 points or not. But that's not the point of this example. This is to show you that you can make a 12 card deck. So I'm just deleting, again, random cards. You'll see on the right side, if you look on the right, it says YouTube Test White. We have 21 cards remaining in the deck now. See, now it drops to 20. So every time I delete a card, this deck is losing a card from it, and that's intentional. We want to knock it down to, again, our select 12 spells. So like if I wanted to have Battle Wise Valor and Skillful Lunge in my deck, I would say, okay, leave those alone. Let's go to Seize the Initiative and delete it instead. And again, like let's go Silver Strike, let's delete that. Sanctified Charge, let's get rid of that. I'll delete some of the more expensive ones so that way I know my deck would be illegal, huh? Let's delete one more. Let's get rid of Chaplain's Blessing. So now my deck is at 12 cards. This is legal for AOTP. Just to let you guys know, there is nothing in Roll20 that will police this for you. There's no hard and fast rule that says, you know, all players have to be using a card, or I mean, all players have to be using a deck that has 12 cards, or 18 cards, or 15. There's no way to set like a static number to say, hey, Roll20, keep an eye out for all players' decks to have X number of cards. So you'll have to police that yourself instead. Make sure you build your deck to have as many points as it's supposed to have, and as many cards as it's supposed to have. We got our 12 cards. As long as it looks good, we can go to the bottom and click Save Changes. And now our deck is sitting down here with 12 cards. Before you actually try to play a game, what you might be able to see here, I'll scoot this over. What you can probably see on my screen right now is you'll see the two shuffles on the right side. We have 2 decks. These are where the decks are going to go whenever you add a deck to your table, or to your screen, I suppose. So I have a Chandra deck currently on the table and a Jace B deck. Please, before you add new decks and try and play a game, or before you try to add new decks to the table, go and remove these 2 decks. So you'll see it says Chandra something and then Jace B mix. So on the right side back over here, you'll see here's a Jace B mix. This is hide. If I click on this hide, see now it's gone and there's only 1 deck remaining. So we'll scroll a little bit and find Chandra. Here it is, Chandra Squads. Click hide, it's gone. Now if we wanted to use our white deck, we'll just scroll down to our YouTube Test White, click show, and here it is with a shuffle button. Go ahead and click shuffle right now. It'll ask you to confirm, click yes to shuffle. Now you'll see the shuffle button went away. Now, with your deck on the table and shuffled, we're going to practice drawing and playing cards. So to deal multiple cards to a player at one time, all you have to do is hover your cursor over your deck and then scroll just a little bit to the left here and you'll see it says deal. Click deal. Typically, you'll probably want to do this when you start the game. You can type in draw 3 cards, draw whatever, however many cards. Again, standard AOTP is to draw 3 cards. You'll click on this white box underneath and find your name. I'm currently playing as AOTP at the bottom left here. I would leave this offline players thing unchecked and click deal. And you'll see at the bottom left here that I now have 3 cards in my hand. I'm going to move this over just a bit for me. So it says, you'll see I have this little 3 down here. If you click this little card symbol, just left click it, it'll show you the cards that are in your hand. So I have, and if you left click each individual card, it'll actually zoom it in for you. I have Ghostly Possession, and there is the effect of Ghostly Possession. Here's Hope Against Hope, and again, you'll see the effect and actually the point cost of Hope Against Hope. There's the artwork. And my last card is Inspired Charge. So let's say I wanted to play one of these cards, like let's say something like Inspired Charge. In order to play a card from your hand, you can left click, hold, and drag it and let go of it onto the table. And as you can see, here it is, and now all the players, this is now public information. It's public information when you drop it on the table, that like, whatever you see on Inspired Charge like this, everyone else can zoom in and read it and see that you've played it. Typically, when I'm done resolving spells, I will put it at the bottom left or the bottom right, at least while playing a 2-player game. So at least for a 1 versus 1 game, I would tend to put the graveyards at the bottom left and the graveyards in the bottom left and the bottom right for each given player. As an alternate method to drawing, instead of clicking deal, if you don't want to do this, you can drag and drop from the top of your deck on the image of the card itself. If you left click, hold, drag it, and put it on top of your name, you see how this is highlighting yellow for me? If you let go of it while it's on top of your name, you'll see that my hand just went from 2 to 3. That is how you can draw cards too. So like if I want to draw 2 cards, I can draw 1, drag it over like that, and then 2, drag it over, and then let go of my click there, and it's adding these cards to my hand. So it's one easy way to draw 1 card per turn, especially at the start of your turn. We briefly touched on these other red cards on the table. I'm going to quickly review how enchantments generally work on Roll20. So you'll see we have names of all the figures on the top here. We have Chandra, Prophet, Jace, all that. The white space that's in between these and the map is generally to allow for the players to drop their enchantments underneath those given names. So let's say I'm playing Nahiri or somebody who has a white spell, a white enchantment, like I'm going to play Divine Favor. There's Divine Favor. Let's say I want to enchant Chandra's Fire Cats for some reason. So we will drop Divine Favor underneath the Fire Cats so that we know Divine Favor, which says it's an enchant squad, and the Fire Cats are a squad. Divine Favor has been enchanted unto the Fire Cats so that we know that Divine Favor is attached to them and we won't forget, you know, who it's attached to or anything. This is how we trace which figure is attached to which enchantment. So like here's another one. We have this is an enchant Planeswalker, Not Forgotten. So like we have a space for Jace. Let's say we want to put Jace here. We'll have to move the knowledge glyph and the move plus 2 glyph a bit here. But we'll put Jace Not Forgotten on Jace. So we'll leave Not Forgotten right underneath Jace, so we know that this section underneath him is his enchantment space. Let's review hidden enchants real quick. If we click your hand, you should see that I have at least 1 hidden enchant, and it's Battle-Wise Valor. You'll see this says Hidden Enchant Squad. If you're familiar with AOTP rules, this means you put the card face down on the card so that your opponents don't know what you're playing. You can emulate this by when you click and drag and drop onto the table, hold the shift key on your keyboard, hold it down, and then let go of click while still holding shift. And as you can see, my Battle-Wise Valor went face down on the table. Nobody can see it. This is how every player sees it. Let's say I wanted to put it on the Fire Cats. We might have to put it face on underneath Divine Favor. This is a good way to explain. If you right click a card, you should be able to send it to like the back or the front. Here it is. Like you can send it to the front. Let's say if I want to put the Battle-Wise Valor in, or Divine Favor in front of Battle-Wise Valor. But let's say my opponent uses one of the Scions, like Scion number 3 comes over here and attacks Firecat number 3. Before rolling dice, we can then say, alright, our trap card, our enchantment has been triggered. If you right-click it and click flip card, again, this makes it public for everyone to see. And it'll say, yes, this Hidden Enchant Squad. Flip when creature is attacked. You'll have to remember your triggers. Again, I remembered to flip it because when the Scion announces an attack against the Firecat, that's when you flip Battle-Wise Valor. And now you can, again, do the math normally. Instead of rolling the normal Firecat defense, you'll have to add the additional +4 and also +1 for Divine Favor when you do those combat dice. So let's say we finish the game. We're gonna deal. I'm not sure how many cards are left in the deck here. Deal all. Uh-oh. Ran out of cards. Okay, good. So it just threw me an error. It said it ran out of cards before it could deal all 6 cards. I've actually never done that before. But so you'll see I have the shuffle button now back on my deck here. I've dealt all my cards to my hand. Whatever. We'll put a couple on the table for fun. When you're done with your game and you'd like to put your deck away and the cards away, generally what I'll do is I'll hover my mouse over this, over your deck on the right, and then go to Recall. Left click that. You'll see that in player hands, there are 7, and we know that because at the bottom left, you'll see I have a number 7 in my hand. On the table, there are 5 white cards. We have the 3 enchantments at the top, and then the 2 in the graveyard at the bottom left. So you can recall only the cards from the player hand. Like, I'll do that now. So it doesn't put it in the deck, though. It just recalls it in, I guess, in a way, puts it in a kind of reserve that Roll20 has implemented. But I suggest just recalling all almost every time. Like if you're done with a game, just click recall all. It'll get every card from the table, from the hand, etc., and put it back again in this like kind of weird off space that Roll20 does. And then click shuffle. It will shuffle all of your cards into your deck. Oh, and I didn't explain this. In order to just grab a card from the top of your deck and put it on the table, you can just left click, drag, drop, and let go onto the table, and it just puts it face up on the table. So that covers the basics of AOTP on Roll20. If you have any questions or if you feel that I missed something, please hit us up in the Discords. I will leave links to the Discords in the description below. Otherwise, we'll see y'all on the battlefield.